Hello, sports fans around the world. It's the one you've been waiting for, the return of the NRL SuperCoach BDE podcast. We are the best draft experts here to bring you all the expert analysis for all things NRL SuperCoach draft in the 2026 season. Holy dooly, it's good to be back, gentlemen. As always, the boys are back. We'll go with Simo. Mate, you're here. The expert is back in the house. How are you, good sir?
Mate, I'm doing well. I think I should give that tag over to you, though. The champion, I see the banner behind your head there. 2025 was the year of the Redford. Just
thank you, mate.
League of record, obviously. Listener league. Well done, sir. Just well deserved to you. But yeah, it is good to be back. Try and knock you off your perch again this year.
Thank you, mate. And for those, I did promise a bit of NFL draft analysis as well. I failed listeners on that, but I did happen to win 3 of my leagues this year as well. So it's been a good run for yours truly.
Must be nice, eh? Must be nice.
Not just the hostess with the mostess, mate. Can actually play the game as well. Tiodza, that's enough of tooting my own horn, says the champion. Jake Paul in the house. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I've got that a couple of times this week. The old Jake Paul from Wish, sort of dyed my hair. So, mate, I'm doing well. Look, I'm looking forward to footy season being back. I know NFL and basketball's been happening and Premier League. But, geez, I'm just frothing some NRL to be back. So, I think we're about 40 days away, and, yeah, I'm keen as.
How good. And we've got a first live listener of the year. Just mentioned, so Rutro Raggies 225. Hey boys, I don't play, but the fellas want me to join this year. I don't follow footy. Could you bros just tell me what to pick? We bloody well, mate. Thanks. Good to have you aboard. Please subscribe and tell your friends. Good to have you. All right, gentlemen. Pumped as always to get stuck into the season. Draft season is about as good as it gets. Stuff Christmas, stuff the rest of it. It's where it's at. I've already jumped in. I'm that keen. I know, Todd, you have as well. We've got our rankings up and about, which we will share with the listeners once we peel back the rankings in the preseason. This will be the first of a few potties, as per our tradition. So we're going to start with a bang. The mighty fullback position. We're then going to run down rounds 1 and 2, predicted draft order. Bit of contention, I think, to be had. Pardon me in there. And I guess a bit of a new look this year. We're also going to set up the mighty listener league as I aim to defend my title with a fun little idea. So if you are watching the start of this potty, lock in and watch the whole video for us. There is going to be a code word dropped, not precisely at the end, but somewhere between 3/4 in the end, that you will need to put in a comment to be considered for addition to our listener league this year, with, again, the opportunity to win a jersey of your team's choice. So keen to get a league up. It'll be a 12-teamer this year, so 9 spots available. How good?
Yeah.
All right, boys. We're ready to get stuck into these fullbacks. Have a sweet look.
Am I ready?
How good? Yeah.
Please.
Fullback's where it's at.
Fullback is where it's at. We're starting with a bang. So, gentlemen, has James Tedesco done enough as the Dally M, the top Supercoach scorer? Has he done enough to hold off the fast-finishing Reece Walsh, my boy? Won many a title for our listeners, no doubt, listening to my advice last year. Has he knocked off Teddy for the number 1 spot? I'm going to start with you, actually, Todd Mount.
In my rankings, mate, he has not. He has. He has. Reece Walsh is my number 1. That finals run last year, it was just too impressive for me to turn down Hot Boy Walsh. Does everything right in the preseason too. He has some photoshopping and whatnot. But yeah, look, I think they're 1A, 1B, him and Teddy. I think there's a bit of a drop-off to the third guy, my third ranking. But, yeah, just that last sort of 8 rounds for Reece Walsh was just phenomenal. And if he can bring that form in to the start of this year, I mean, you'll be cheering. The Broncos got a pretty decent run at the start of the year. So I'm all about Reece. Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yep, I like it, mate. Simo, Teddy with the addition of DCE could even be better. That's the bit that stands out for me. Maybe slightly less involved with the dummy half scoots, but the opportunity for some more upside maybe to be the man to hit. Is Teddy still number 1 for you?
No, Teddy's not number 1. Walsh is number 1 for me. And to be honest, it's not really. It wasn't a consideration that I really had when I was trying to put mine together. Just, I'm a bit like Toddy there. I think even just public perception wise, you watch Walsh's finish to the year, you'd be pretty crazy to shy away from that, especially in the Supercoach lens where he pretty much won you a comp if you owned him at the back end of last year. So yeah, for me, Walsh is pretty clear number one fullback. Teddy also a pretty clear number two as well, just quietly.
Yeah, the obvious 1 and 2. I'm the same. Yeah, stay tuned, listeners, to see where Walsh slots in. Will he pip a Cleary for the number 1 overall draft pick this year? Very interesting conversation, I believe. I'll jump down to my number 3, and it might surprise both of you due to my aversion to injury-prone gentlemen, but just looking at the opportunities this year and the fullback options, Drinkwater and Ponga, question marks on whether they'll goal kick. Latrell not playing fullback, we think, drops down a little bit as well. You got no Pappen up there also. Gentlemen, I've got Tommy Turbo number 3. It's not to say I would be someone that will draft Tommy Turbo ever, because I just don't believe it's worth it. But in terms of just what he could do if he has another, let's say, 3/4 to a full season, Simo, I'll go back to you with this one, mate. You've been a Tommy Turbo truther. He won you a title a few years back, of course. Can you have him that high?
No, I personally couldn't. I'd be pretty steadfast with Drinkwater definitely over Turbo. I just feel like, Drinkwater's just got that ascension of his career where he had a good year last year, but we still may have not seen the best Supercoach season of Scott Drinkwater, especially if he does end up kicking for any extended period of time. So yeah, for me, it's Drinkwater pretty easily over Turbo. You just don't have those concerns over the injury that you've had with Turbo, which if you watched him last year, you sort of have to be worried about that still at this point. But to Turbo's defense, what I will say is I think Manly have sort of come to the realization that for them to beat the good teams, Turbo has to be fullback for them. So I think his job security has gotten better, which is crazy to say because it's Tommy Turbo. Like, why would his job security not be good? But we have to be real as well. Like, he did play centre for 4 games last year or whatever it was. So we have to factor that in a little bit. And yeah, for me, it's the loss of DCE may hurt a little bit. Fogarty's a very good replacement though, so you're probably not going to lose a lot there. I just worry a little bit maybe about Fogarty's ability to play off the cuff. And I think teams might be able to sort of clue in on Tommy Turbo a little bit more. So yeah, I know we're splitting hairs a bit, but for me, I wouldn't have Turbo anywhere near sort of that conversation yet.
Okay. Couple of points to that, mate. I think you're onto a good thing there, and I think if I'm being honest, would I draft Drinkwater over Turbo for my team to try and win? Yeah, I would. I've just ranked him here because I think the what if it lured me in. Lehigh also didn't look that great as a fullback is a big thing. So I think there was a period where they thought, well, Lehigh comes in and crushes it, play Turbo in center, maybe preserve him. That might be the immediate future. Didn't work out that way. Lehigh was not that great as a fullback, either real life or Supercoach. So good point made, mate. Toddy, how do you have these next few, mate? Because I've got your Turbo and Drinkwater for me are pretty much the clear 2, but is there any say there in either Ponga or Kinney potentially?
Yeah, mate. Just to jump in there, my number 3 is actually Keanu Kinney.
Wow, there you go.
Yeah, it's a big call, and look, I'm happy to make these kind of calls.
Jesus,
I just think that the kid has all the talent in the world. I know he's coming off a big injury last year, but what we saw in the Pac Champs, if he can get back to some 2024 form with a couple more years experience, I think he can be unreal. So I do have him as the 3rd. I have Drinkwater ahead of Turbo at the 4-5 hole. So that's where I'm going. Obviously, it's a big call on Kinney, and a lot of people won't want to jump on board because of the injury last year and obviously the unknown with what the Gold Coast time is going to be. But these are things that can win you championships, and I just love Keanu Kinney's energy. So I think he can really do a big year.
Kinney over Drinkwater, that's blown my mind. That is blown me. Oh, I could not do that.
That is massive. And I'll add it. If I've written on my rankings here, gentlemen, that there's 2 big ifs for me in this setup. Is Ponga maintaining the goal kicking, and does Drinkwater maintain the goal kicking? If both of them do, I agree. I would push them both above Tommy Turbo comfortably as the 3-4 behind Walsh and Teddy, and I think a very attractive option. Probably at the end of round 1, turn of 2. I think once we have a look, it'll be about there somewhere. Could be a really good option. Without the goal kicking, though, for both Drinky and Ponga, you're within a shout, Todd. It's not terrible. I don't hate it.
You got to be on someone, mate. And I'll just have a go.
It's aggressive. I'll tell you, gentlemen, I've been pretty touch wood. Part of the success in recent years is getting the fullback right for a good price. I've got my eyes set on Kalen Ponga this year. I think this might be the year, just with slightly less pressure to do everything in attack, being as you said with Turbo Simo, less keyed on. I think Ponga now finally is going to have some other options to step in and do something, and I think Ponga could be the good, slightly discounted version of himself this year if he keeps the goal kicking. I really like him going into 2026.
Yeah, well, the value's there with Ponga, isn't it, this year? And I think with fullback, it's very much similar to quarterback in the NFL. You know, you just want to get, if you don't get one of those big guys at the start of the SuperCoach rankings with Tedesco and Walsh in whatever order, this sort of middle ground of fullback, you just want to get one at a great value and be happy with that, because there's so many guys in here that are going to average 65 plus pretty easily. So you just want to get someone good value that you think has a potential to be maybe a top 3 or even a top 2 player. And Ponga fits that bill, definitely.
The other for me, I think there's now a couple that are quite interesting here. So Latrell Mitchell in the centres. Simo, when he was back playing for your Roosters as a young fella, averaged 73, I believe, as a centre in SuperCoach without the goal kicking. He was obviously a supreme athlete pre a lot of injuries back then and playing in a pretty outstanding side, obviously. There's no shot. We're not getting a 73. He's centre wing only. That's right. Actually, Simo, he is, but I still think pre-season I should justify this. I put him in here as a fullback because they're going to give him dual before the season starts. I think that was something they mentioned. They were holding off to see exactly what he does, but there was still chatter. So I just wanted to know, even if you don't have him in your rankings, where would he slot in for you should he get that fullback going into round 1?
Not anywhere near this conversation, because if he's got CTW eligibility, if he's got CTW, he doesn't belong in the fullback discussion.
Yeah, good call.
Because you draft Latrell, you play him at fullback, playing centre real life. I think you've made a massive mistake, because the whole value of SuperCoach is the beauty of Latrell. If you draft him this year, he's got the centre wing, so you play him as a centre winger. That's money for jam. So. For me, I've sort of butted in there a bit because I just think it's a neat point.
Yeah, good shout, mate. I respect that. Tane Tuapiki is the other one I think that's going to qualify for that this year, most likely, which will be very interesting. So we'll get to that when he's a little bit further on. So I'm happy that I know Latrell is potentially, we'll wait and see, but I think good points from Simo. Dylan Edwards then, gentlemen. We disrespect him every year on this potty. We can't help ourselves. We were essentially right last year. It wasn't a great year upside-wise for Edwards. Got outshone by Teddy pretty severely, but yet somehow played Origin. Go figure.
Good stuff.
Odds are, you're not a Dylan Edwards truther, and I know that for absolute stone-cold fact. He's got to slot in somewhere, mate. Is it next after these run?
Yeah. So I have him slotted in at 7 after Ponga. Obviously, there's consistency from Dylan Edwards is what you're after there. There's a few of the guys coming up, that sort of 8 to 12 range that could go gangbuster and easily outperform Dylan Edwards. But you know what you're getting with him every year. He's pretty solid. Not crazy high upside. So it is a way to sort of, if you do take Dylan Edwards in whatever round, it's just you're thinking about your upside in other positions, your CT dubs or your halfback. But yeah, I'm happy to sit him in here at the 7 hole, and I think he's solid enough pick.
Yeah, and there's a chance of a bit of a bounce back, Todd's. I feel like that every player has a little bit of a down year. Penrith probably, how slow they started didn't help. I think he's probably, again, a pretty decent option that I probably won't ever draft, but I think he's okay here, especially round 3-ish, maybe, if that's where you get him. I just think he's more popular in a lot of leagues out there. So please don't be spending an early round 2 pick on Dylan Edwards. I just don't think he's a match winner. Sticking by it.
He's a good example of the guy you wait for, because he's
I think so too.
Consistent. He has a sprinkling of upside, but not a hell of a lot. He's not a sexy name anymore. People are sort of keen to go after these more flashy guys, and he's a pretty rock solid average that you're happy to get. I think round 3 is a good call there. So back end of 2, 3 was where he was going in previous years, but I think he's a pretty solid round 3 pick now.
Yeah, I like that too. Your early Payne Haas crowd could get on him in round 3, for example, is probably he's a decent guy on the way back. Here's one I've aggressively ranked, gentlemen. He has an asterisk beside his name because it is subject to selection. Big year ahead for the mighty Finns, mate. Trey Fuller for me. I'm all about it. Like, you sign me well the hell up on this guy. His Supercoach pedigree, I'm seeing the electric nods from you, Todza. Tell me how you could rank him much lower than the Yongis. Farlongo is interesting. That is the one that I think needs to be discussed here. But I've got to have him ahead of Jareem Bula, who's more, I think, of that solid option, albeit keen on to see him this year. And I've got to have him well above the Hammer. If the Hammer plays centre, give me Fuller all day, every day here.
Totally how I have it ranked, mate. And I'm my number 8, Trey Fuller.
Yeah, boy.
Just think he has every opportunity to just break open everyone's Supercoach. And you're not going to have to pay up big for him. There'll be many leagues where they go, oh, who's this Trey Fuller guy? I think he's a perfect option. And like you were saying, like the Yongis, the Gray, the Buller, the Falango, they're all good guys who could easily break out as well, just as much as Fuller has. But we've seen Fuller do this time and time again when he's given the chance. So the word is he's going to get that fullback spot. And look, I think he's a great option here.
Love it, mate. Simo, keen to see how I've got a bit of a bunch here. I'm a huge Isaiah Yongi fan, and I think with Para being a lot more competitive this year as well, I think he's also a wonderful mid-round option here. How do you have I think there's a clear tier for me. Fuller, Yongi, Falongo, Bula. Those 4 are my next. I'd be happy to see them in any kind of order. They're all close for me. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm very much the same. I think they're very similar. I think Buller's in for a good year. So for me, I'd probably have Buller at the top of that list personally. But honestly, any of those 4 names there, you could flip them in any which way. Personally, I would have it ranked probably Buller, Fa'alongo, Iongi.
Fuller.
Yeah. Sorry. Did I say Fuller second? No, I'd have Fuller last.
I think you said Fuller last. You had Fuller last. Yeah. So,
Fuller last.
So you had it Buller, Falongo, Yongi, Fuller?
Yeah,
I get it. And I think, gentlemen, other years, if you're going to pony up for the guaranteed Walsh Teddy, they are the locks to be averaging, let's be honest. It's not going to be less than 70. That's a bad season for them at this point in their careers. Mm-hmm. I think, Turbo, Risky, Drinkwater, and Ponga without goal kicking. Remember, they could start goal kicking and lose it, is the other little asterisk beside both those two. I think you both would agree they can be shaky, and they got other options.
I actually would be surprised if those guys started the year kicking. I'd be shocked if they didn't lose it at some point.
That's where I'm at as well. And that just
look
drops
at Drinkwater
off that
last year.
When he's off, he's off.
some reason, Labour would kick for a while. Same with Newcastle. Sandon Smith, whenever Sandon Smith's on the field,
he should be the goal kicker. You're going to start me early, Simo, but I hate that it's not Sandon Smith and Dylan Brown in the halves. I want to vomit. I'd play Fletcher Sharp on a wing until Ponga moves on. That's me. That's what I would do personally. But anyway, don't start me on that. That point being, it does, and obviously Kinney, I believe, Todza, he'll be hyped up enough, and with his pedigree and his short stint, he's not going to come as cheap, obviously. Like, he's going to cost you a round 2 pick, I think we're in agreement here.
Yeah.
Yep.
He'll be above those guys on draft day for sure.
He will be, and he'll be well sought after. Edwards will go, obviously, there. Then I think those guys, anywhere from like the middle of 3 to probably even end of 4, that sort of... Because you think people are going to get a bit itchy as they move around. They haven't got their fullback. They're going to want to fill it up. Boy, do I love those options in there. And one of them, I'll tell you right now, one of them is a league winner. One of them is.
Wow.
One of them is going to average 70, and you're going to stack your team elsewhere, and there's the title. So.
Yep.
Attractive option, boys. They're fun. Now, to the ones that I think are a little bit more on the boring side, with one asterisk that a lot of people are going to hype KO Weeks for his inconsistent form, however, electric at times. Now, I know you and I aren't fans, Todza. No. I will start off. It's the first potty of the year, folks. You know my philosophy if you've been with us many times. I've upgraded my philosophy this year to put a flat line through every Raiders player on this draft board. Will not be drafting one. Round 26 bye to the Raiders. You can tell your story walking KO Weeks. Not interested, sir. For those who don't subscribe to that philosophy and just prefer to come second on grand final day, Simo, how high should KO Weeks be?
So I'll tell you what. How can you not love KO Weeks? That's a rough call from you, Todd.
He plays for the Raiders in round 26, is why I'm not a fan. I'd love to have ranked him appropriately, but just can't do it.
No, I think it's. I got I think where he's going, though, we're talking about a range here where, what's this like? This is outside the top 10 fullbacks where you can just have a free shot on these guys. Like, he's going to cost you next to nothing. So, he's essentially a bench fullback for you. And if you don't want that as, like we saw the player he was, if he was to sort of develop any more consistency or even just a general run stats, he could grow from year essentially what is a good year 1, year 2. Like, I know he's played NRL before, but last year was essentially his breakout full season. So I don't know. At some point, I get what you're saying. He's not playing the grand final, so you can't put too much stock in him. But for the price, I'm happy to nab him in. You're probably talking around 6, 7, 8 maybe if people go a different direction, because they're not going to draft a second fullback most likely. So yeah, I like the value on him.
I think there's a strat here this year, Simo, with a couple of the names I'll just mention. So the next little run, KO for me he was obviously my next on the list very clearly. I think there's even a little gap there for me. Clint Gutherson, is the hammer CTW only or both?
He's fullback only.
Or just fullback only. So almost certainly, like how he's not CTW ranked there, I've got no idea. They've made that weird, but I think he will be by draft day. So he'll be a CTW if he plays fullback or not, I think. Jai Gray, then Clint Gutherson, and Tane Tuapiki, Connor Tracy, a very fast finishing Will Kennedy last year, out of nowhere actually was pretty good for SuperCoach, which is just confusing. Well,
did you say Jai Gray in that mix?
Jai Gray was in that mix, yeah. So these are the more boring guys that you could draft alongside.
I've got Jai Gray ranked a little bit higher, to be honest.
You do?
I would too. Yeah, I would too.
I've actually got Jai Gray ranked above Dream Buller. So he rounds
Excuse me?
Yeah. I'm not going there.
I'm going. Sorry? You want to give that ascending potential superstar talent Dream Buller versus little trier Jai Gray for SuperCoach purposes?
Hey, we've seen some big scores from Jai Gray. Like he's not, got nothing to write home about. But
poor guy.
Yeah, I just think he's got enough in it. The South team will be able to have enough in it this year. Jai Gray will be on the end of some good stuff.
Wow, that is aggressive for me.
I'm an aggressive man.
How high have you got Jai Gray? Just behind Kinney in slot 4 or something?
Yeah, just touching in there. Yeah.
Gentlemen, I just a brief pause to welcome back some of our regulars. We've got the man Razzle in the house. That's your man, Simo, isn't it? Razzle loves your work.
Oh, Razzle's back. I didn't recognise it.
Razzle's back. Well, says Razzle. Good to have you, mate. And my man, or actually it's Toddy's man. I don't have any men. You guys have got all the men. Fair play to you. Hey, Potty, love the Toddy. Looking forward to another great year ahead. Great to have you back, Dom. Good to see you so early, mate. Love your work, fella. All right. So, gentlemen, I just wanted to bring up potential strategy this year with how deep fullback is. You could go a KO Weeks alongside one of these guys that have a favourable round 26 draw, for example, if you really wanted to. You could play matchups. So you could go like a KO Weeks and a Gutho or a Hammer. Jai Gray, if you're not Totter, who thinks he needs to go in like round 2 or something. But for most of us, most leagues, you'll be able to grab 2 of these guys. Tane Tuapiki and not without hope, I think, Totter on that side.
Yeah, I still think that Chan's going to be the fullback.
You sort of have. That's a tough strategy because you are tying yourself to 2. Pretty sick.
True.
Yeah.
True, but you get where I'm going with this, right? There is a potential if you just stack every other position there. You could do the double up. Connor Tracy right at the back end of this for me because Stephen Crichton was taking over the sweeping fullback duties by the end of the year. Stay tuned for how aggressively I have Stephen Crichton ranked based on how he finished last year. Dun, dun, dun. Right.
Well, stay tuned.
Yeah. Do you like that? You're supposed to say to the listeners, wow, Redford, that's amazing. I can't wait. I hate you too.
About as much interest there as there was for your NFL preseason podcast.
Absolutely. Well, in fairness, there was interest. I just didn't deliver. So that was more of an apology, Simo. But yeah, I see where you're going with this. Okay, boys. So of that lot, can you just tell me is really the budget options? Toddy, you clearly have Jai Gray as someone you're a fan of. Simo, out of Gutho, Hammer, Tuapiki, Kennedy, Tracy, Shans, if he gets the start, I don't know why I included him. He's not there. Bottom end, Tom Chester, if he gets to start in the centres with his dual, so you play him in the centres. That's really it at the bottom. There's not really anyone else of starting note.
Yeah, that's not a great list when you think about it. Honestly, I'd probably just go with the hammer and just hope he ends up playing fullback at some point. But yeah, a lot of those names weren't too great. You want to hope you got yourself sorted at fullback by then. That's pretty gross.
I don't mind Weeks Gutho for me as a combo, because you'd probably get them in this season in particular, get them both pretty cheap. Gutho's still in a crap season and a crap side average 60 odd. I think Dragons will be just that tiny little bit better this year in attack. I think they'll have it'll be a little more organised with Atkinson there. I think Gutho is a really good just budget guy who you'd have in a rotation and like a platoon. So just more of a break glass type of guy.
Yeah, I was going to say Gutho and Weeks would be that break glass. I'd prefer one of those names to be Iongi and
I like that.
If you can somehow get Iongi and Gutho, or God forbid Iongi and Weeks somehow, like if you sort of are keen to spend like a 5th and a 7th round pick or something like that, I think they're better combos personally, because Iongi gives you that upside that if Parramatta are better, that he could really just break whatever Gutho could potentially do sort of towards the back end of his career. So, but yeah, I like what you're saying. I think Gutherson, given where you can probably draft him, it's an okay strategy to go with, because, I mean, let's face it, you probably have a pretty stacked team by that point, leaving fullback that late.
Yeah, I think if you're if you're a believer in Harry Grant to actually have a full season, if you really want like your early Cam Munster in an incredibly shallow position, that could be the way to go, is just to load up elsewhere, pick up your fullback on the run home, because it is the deepest of these starting positions. Gentlemen, just as a bit of a preview, 5'8" is the worst I have ever seen it. So when I look forward to that potty, this is dire. This is the worst season ever of 5'8". It's shocking. Like
how high do you take Munster?
He's back into round one. He's back into round one just because of scarcity. I don't love it, and I don't think I personally don't think he wins your titles. But this year, just because of how bad it is, the gap between him 1 and 2, with the asterisk beside Fletcher Sharp for me, he's the genuine one. That's what we can debate. But that's a little bit of a preview. So, gentlemen, just to recap, I think if I've got an idea of our fullback rankings, I'm going to do a bit of a recap with what I think is a consensus here. Walsh, Teddy, locked in 1 and 2 for all three of us. Absolutely love taking them. We'll do this as a bit of an overlap with the round 1 and 2 very shortly, so I'll just flow into that. But Walsh 1 and 2. Drinkwater 3, I'm happy you've convinced me that I should move him above Turbo. I think we're at least just saying, really pay attention to the goal kicking. That does make a bit of a difference there if you want to, take a risk on Turbo to, win you a league versus Drinkwater, who won't have the floor. Ponga goal kicking is another massive one. I think we're in agreement. Simo, you in particular can see him being a league winner this year because of his discounted price. So that's a good one. Then we had Turbo. Kinney, where he slots in, I'm happy based on the consensus. I'll bring him ahead of Turbo Todzer for the consensus rankings at this point. Simo, I think that makes sense with Toddy having him so aggressive and me having him pretty high as well.
Yeah.
Great option.
Sense.
Tier, clear tier. If you want to put Edwards in there, sure. We'll just put him at the back end of that so people don't.
Put him by himself in his own tier. He can't be with the others.
He kind of is in his own tier of safe and enough upside that you're like, okay, if you get him in middle of round 3, I probably would be okay with that. Then there's the exciting options, guys. And honestly, I'm just going to stick with a blanket because all three of us had different order here. So the very exciting picks of Trey Fuller, Isaiah Yongi, who I'm particularly big on. I think he could be fantastic. I think he's got everything you'd want for SuperCoach other than goal kicking. Falongo, range of outcomes is probably the biggest here for me out of these 4. I think he could be spectacular. The reason I have him probably almost as I'm talking aloud 4th in this list is because I just don't know if the base stats are there, the base power. Running back with the ball, I feel he dumps it off to Xavier Coates and Willie Warbrick / Lomax, hint, hint, wink, nudge, a lot. I'm just not sure he'll have enough of the floor, but holy crap, will he win you some weeks if you get the right matchup. We know this. And also, potentially, if it doesn't work there, Meany comes into fullback. That's the other one for me, which is a bit weird, right? Bula, I don't think there's much not to like, except Todd's has got him way lower down for below Jai Gray somehow.
You've named like 10 fullbacks, and I've got him at 11. What are you talking about? What are we on about here? Way lower.
Yeah, all right, I'm going to ask you to explain what is not to like. I see what Simo sees. Tigers are going to be much better.
I don't remember saying I dislike Dream Buller. I didn't say that.
You had Jai Gray ahead of him. I think that is madness.
You don't think the South is going to go nuts and Jai Gray won't benefit? Really?
I don't. I think Latrell's going to get injured as he always does. I think Cody Walker has been. I think Jack Whiten's just at the point where he's not exactly crazily effective. No.
Yeah,
Colin Tungy's on the way out. I think it's a no chance. See you later.
All right, I'm going to back some
Campbell Graham's been injured. You got Bentley Harper and them on the wing again. Tyron Munro get injured. It's just it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I guess Buller can also get injured, so is that like...
No, he's not allowed to, based on this combo. Otherwise, it won't be right. Listen, Dream Buller, the reason we like him genuinely, Todd, and why I think it's crazy you got him there, he is a guy that's shown he's got the floor, he's got the attacking talent, and I think Tigers can be better this year, boys. I think they're on the up. I love their signings. I love Kai Pearce-Paul coming in. I think with May, they've got a better team. So, we'll see. And quick recap down here. KO Weeks, almost in a tier on his own, just below those guys. I think it was pretty close when we were talking. He's a pretty good option. Gutho, a decent shout with Hammer, Jai Gray, and then there's a gap to your very low end, your Tuapiki, your Kennedy, your Connor Tracy, and your Shans, and probably Chester's in there, potentially if he starts. You don't want to wait that long, ladies and gentlemen. That becomes very risky, and please don't have Connor Tracy as your fullback starter. Please don't do it. I've tried to caution against that. Please don't do it. It's not good. All right, happy with that. Any other... Go,
I was just going to... On Connor Tracy, not having CTW eligibility this year has almost torpedoed his value more than any other player getting around SuperCoach. That's a big takeaway from SuperCoach in general this year, is just how few duels there are. They've really gone hammer and tong with naming players in a position and sticking with that. The old, we can add positions, but we can't take them away. They're obviously really a bit butthurt by the Fletcher Sharp of last year, where he was fullback and CTW eligible and played 5'8" all year. Or Jaden Campbell played halfback all year, even though he was 5'8" CTW. I think they've overreacted quite a lot, and now as a result of that, we've got this where the Connor Tracy's of the world, and rightfully so. He should be fullback only, but he was only fantasy relevant when you play him in the CT Dubs. Now that he's fullback only, no thanks, not even close. So march on.
Yeah, I think they have overreacted, but in fairness, they're probably sick of answering the same question. How come you can't change him to another position when they've already got two, even though it's been answered 40,000 times? So fair enough to him. Connor Tracy, look forward to mentioning him about 50 times through the waiver wire segment through Origin. Can't wait. Sounds Cesar Wonderline reinvented to Connor Tracy.
Connor Tracy's going to be that guy that you don't want to draft him because he's just going to clog up a bench spot all year.
Yeah.
You're not going to want to start him over the fullback that you invested a higher pick in. You'll pick him up, round 12, round 13 because he fell, and then you'll sit on your bench all year and just be a pain in the arse. You can't drop him.
Can't trade him.
You you probably should. You can't trade him. That's right. You can't trade him. It's just a real pain in the arse draft pick.
Get ready for your... I'll just give you an early trade option here. Your Connor Tracy, Luke Brooks for AJ Brimson type trades this year. It's coming. It's right there. But he's a starter. Awesome. Yep, pretty bad. All right, that's our fullbacks. That was a great start, gentlemen. Absolutely pumped. As promised now, listeners, we are going to jump into what we believe is a good look at round 1 and round 2 this year in standard drafts of 10-team size. Straight off the bat, gentlemen, I think for one of the first years in a long time, there is very far from a clear number one. I think there are two names here that have to be debated. I actually, to this point, have struggled with this one. I don't know exactly what I do under the gun. I'll go to you first, the Todd Mound. I think I know where you're going to go, but I want to hear your justification. What's number one?
Number one for me is sexy boy Reece Walsh.
Okay,
again,
thought you might.
Just that run home. Cleary obviously still actually had a pretty decent run too home. He scored quite a few hundred on the way home. Just with Penrith, like looking a little bit off last year. They came over with wet sail, but I just think that Walsh is just he's just the number one.
And our resident celebrity, sorry to cut you off, our celebrity's flown in all the way from South Korea, big Kiwi Nick. Number one got to be Jerome Rapati, right? I don't know. What do you say to that? What do you say to it?
Good player.
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
Yeah. I just think that Walsh can come out at the start of the season and have an absolute blinder, really get the Bronx going, and you could just be winning from round one. They played Penrith in round one too, the Bronx versus Cleary, so it'll be Walsh versus Cleary round one, pretty cool. But yeah, just for me, sexy boy Walsh all day.
Okay. Timo, tell me why, due to position scarcity, he's wrong, eh?
Oh, I just want to say, like, that I didn't realize they were playing each other week one, Broncos and Panthers. Like, that's got every draft owner in SuperCoach who makes that test. If you get the number one pick and that's your decision, and that's got you just regretting it if you get it wrong, written all over it. There'll be bulk regret. So, yeah, really hard year, though. Like, everything Toddy said there, I think, is well and truly justified. And I'm exactly like you in this regard, Chris. Like, I haven't nutted out in my own head what I think either, not definitively, which at this point in the year is very rare because usually by now, like, it's pretty obvious who the number one pick should be. But yeah, it's an interesting year because for the first time in a very long time, halfback is deep enough where, if you don't get Cleary, you've still got a value on Hughes. You've still got Nico Hines coming off a down year.
That's right.
You've now got Tommy Dearden as halfback, Jaden Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
There's enough.
Walker, Katoa, Fogarty will probably goal kick. Probably be okay if he does. Like, there's some good options there.
Yeah, plenty of good names. So, and we didn't even mention Mitchell Moses as well. So
another good one. Yeah,
that is so much there at halfback. Where the beauty of Cleary before was he was a gun, and rightfully should have been the first overall pick, but like far out, he was the best player at that position by just absolute country. Whereas he'll still be the best player at halfback, but that gap over him versus halfback 6, halfback 7, halfback 8, halfback 9 and 10, like that gap has closed. So just from a position scarcity point of view, like the discussion isn't as strong as it was. And, I'm at the point now where I'm perfectly okay with anybody going any direction of Cleary, Walsh, Teddy. Depending if you have Teddy ranked that high, like over Walsh, then you're going to take a fullback. I get it.
Haas has got to be mentioned.
Personally, Walsh. Well, he'll get mentioned, but not by me in that range. But look, he's another one that I can understand why people would do it. It's just not my cup of tea taking a front rower there. But lots to discuss here because I think it's an interesting topic.
I think times have changed, Tots, and I thought maybe either of you may gone there. I might be in the mode to think that the Payne Haas story now, because he added the offload, because he added the upside, he wasn't just being better than other front rowers at his position. He was actually winning you weeks with 110s and 115s last year. The momentum that man has got, the prime of his career, he may even be jotting off to another code in 2 years' time. Todzer, I think he has to come in here. If you're going to say, and Timo, great points on the halfback is not as scarce as it used to be. Fullback is still pretty deep, so you can get a starter you're happy with all the way down to like 8, so not too bad. It also is like, if you could tell me you could pick up a Jaden Campbell, Sam Walker, Hughes in round 2 and start off with someone else, I would rather that than Cleary personally. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Can you make an argument for Haas number 1 here, Tots?
No, I get the appeal. A front rower at 1. I couldn't do it myself, but I do get the appeal. I just think that Cleary, Teddy, and Walsh all have those. Haas has the 110 in them. These guys they could go 200. I don't see a 200 in Payne Haas, and that's why I think I would go the opposite way and leave those guys. Leave Haas to. He's my number 4. Like he's just in behind.
I love that.
Those 3 guys. Because I think he did such a big difference in terms of he's 6 points. Like we froth over what T May did last year. Haas was 6 points average better than him the whole year. Like, that's crazy. 6 points is nuts, considering how good a year Team A had. So I get it, but yeah, I've got him at the 4 hole, just behind those guys.
I actually think that's really clever, Todd. I like where you're at. So you guys have both convinced me. I was sitting on the fence to Cleary Walsh. I think, given especially your argument, Simo, around it's not as scarce at halfback. I think Walsh, you could potentially be Walsh, Teddy, who are clearly above. They have a floor upside argument for both that is pretty hard to match in any position. I don't mind the idea of those two, 1 and 2. You can shove Cleary either second or third in that argument, depending on how you feel. I think Haas comfortably slots in at 4. He's almost in a tier of his own before these next guys because of his floor upside combo. None of the other guys left have that in them, I don't believe. Are we happy with that, gentlemen? Top 4?
Well, yeah, the thing is too, being an old school draft player, and you're a bit the same here, Chris, taking a front rower in round 1 is ludicrous. Well, has always been pretty much seen as ludicrous. But of all the years to do it, you've got Haas coming off the year that he's just had, but now you've also got a scenario where, all the reasons why you would never do it, of missing out on a good halfback and missing out on a fullback, that issue isn't as big as it was in other years, because now you can take Haas 4th overall and you can still get a second round halfback that you like. You can get a value fullback in round 3 that you'll like. If you're happy to get some sort of draft along the lines of, say, Payne Haas, Mitch Moses, Dylan Edwards start, 1, 2, 3, that's a very realistic start to a draft. And, what you're losing taking a front rower in round 1 is not what it used to be. So I think, having him in the 4 spot pretty easily is easily justified now.
For me then, gentlemen, there's a couple of names here that I think are pretty close to a tier of their own. One of them, a newer member of this club, but with Jaden Campbell goal kicking now, I've got to have him and Hines very clearly the next 2 players on my board. And now, people can knock Nico all they like. If you look at his stats, he still averaged well into the 70s in what was considered a down year. I think towards sort of the 3/4 of the way through the season, I think the Sharks kind of realised, hey, Braden Brayley and Nico Hines are our best 2 attacking weapons. Let's give them the ball a bit more again. And Hines' scores on the run home were still pretty good. I'm not too worried of the order of them, to be honest, gentlemen. I think it's a pick your poison. But tell me, do either of you, do you think they belong as the next 2 players, or are there anyone else you've got? I'll go to you, Todd.
That's exactly how I have them rated, mate. I have Jaden Campbell ahead of Hines. Personal preference. I just think he has a little bit more upside, but he also has a lower floor than Hines. So, pick your poison. But, look, I'm a JC fan, as we know from last year. So, I'm happy with those 2 next guys.
Yep. Simo, does Drinkwater start to come into play for you here? And the only other names I can think of potentially, you might be looking at Cam Munster. Maybe. You might be looking at Herbie or Nwangani Tawaze, who were match winners last year.
H. Farnworth is the name in my head that I think is well within the discussion. Yeah. If you're ever going to reach for a CT dub that's pretty much as field-proof as we've seen getting around, doesn't even kick goals and produces what he does. I know he had a freak try-scoring year last year, but if the Dolphins are better, which they should easily be a top 8 team on paper, if not top 14.
Totally agree.
Herbie's, would I take Herbie over either of those 2 guys? No, but it's a discussion worth having because he's got to be either the next cab off the rank or, within the next couple of picks. For me, I'd take Herbie over Munster. So for that, I'd still have Drinkwater up there as well. So for me personally, it would be Nico, JC, Drinkwater, Herbie would be my order. But I think, Herbie's the one that I could get pushed up on because I think he's as good as CTWs as we've seen for a while.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give to the listeners, just because of 2 of 3, and you did sort of say, Sim, I think with the pressure on the draft clock, mate, I know you well enough, your tendency, you'll still grab a halfback there if you had to. I think you did kind of say that, but boy, would you be staring Herbie down. I love Herbie after those options. I think that's a wonderful pick next, so that's how I had him ranked. So I was not going to presume you were the same, sir.
Not really.
Wow. The biggest Herbie fan in the world doesn't have him next. What?
Yeah, this is where I'm a little bit different. I got Fletcher Sharp there just because I think he's going to play 5'8".
Sorry?
I have Fletcher Sharp there ahead of Munster.
Yo. You
Munster
have the floor. Jai
yeah.
Gray versus Bula, Fletcher Sharp versus the pack. Talk us through it, mate. Wow.
Well, that's just how I have them ranked, mate. That's my 5'8" rankings. I have Sharp ahead of Munster, and I think those two should be going in the first round just with how scarce 5'8" is.
You're going to have to... So give me the floor and upside argument as a first rounder over Herbie and Drinkwater mostly. I get your Munster. If you think he's going to average more than Munster, I love the good luck to you. I don't agree, but it's a good shout. Yeah. Tell me how you, on draft day, under the gun, you don't take Drinky or Herbie over him. I need you to go through this for the listeners. Again,
it's just position scarcity. Like, there's plenty of CT dubs in that top echelon that I really like, and I know Herbie is an outlier. I've also got Val pretty highly ranked as well, but I just think with Fletcher Sharp, I'm just a big fan, and I just think that he could be the reason the Knights sort of unlock a little bit of attack this year. Obviously with Dylan Brown there as well. I just have him as my number 1 5'8". I just think that Munster and him should be going in there sort of towards the end of the first round, just because the position is so scarce. You're going to take out Ethan Strange, who won't play round 26, so there's no one gone. Like, I'm looking at 5'8", it's pretty average. So that's just how I would draft, but yeah, I'm happy for you guys to draft Herbie above both those guys. Like, it's up to you.
Well, I guess if you were to go by the structure of my round 1, so quick recap. So Walsh, Teddy, Cleary, Haas, JC, Hughes, Hines, my apologies, either order. Herbie, I then would have Drinky, and then due to that scarcity, I dropped Munster in 9. I don't love it, again, don't get me wrong, but I feel like that's kind of where you got to look at him.
I think that's just a given, to be honest. Like, Munster,
kind of has to.
Not either 9th or 10/11. Like, that's given how, like Toddy said, 5'8" is that shit. He has to be a back of first round pick. And like, look, would I take Fletcher Sharp over him? No, but like, Toddy owned Fletcher Sharp last year and knows what he was like. I mean, it sounds rich, but it makes perfect sense when you see these 5'8" rankings. Like, it's that dire. You're not going to get Fletcher Sharp coming back to you in round 3. No way. So, you've got to take him sort of back of 1, start of 2 in that case. So I don't hate it the more I'm sort of looking at it, but it's definitely, like, not for the faint of heart.
AJ Mason just going to jump in. Hey, boys, just dialed in. Gearing up for another hot season. First thoughts on the draft rankings are that Chris and Toddy need to shave more and Simo needs to shave less. I'm going to take that on the chin from you, AJ. So I am a little due for one just here. Need to be given a bit of a tidy up. Todd's does. He loves Jake Paul so much he wants to look like him in every breath. Simo, I feel like you've been torched out of the 3, to be fair, mate. What have you done?
No, it's well deserved. It's well deserved from Maso.
Holy.
That's good.
Early that is first potty. Holy.
Bang. Straight in. Love you too, Maso. Good from you, mate. We'll not be self-conscious about the beard all year now. Be immaculate every time. So, gentlemen, I'll say at this point of the draft something I was ready to share. I have a clear top 9 of players this year, and I think there's a teardrop now. I think there is risk. Every player from here, again, Toddy, you have thrown in, you think Fletcher belongs in the guaranteed top 9, combination of floor, upside, and safety. I can't get him there on the safety personally. That's how I don't have him, but fair enough. Yeah. For me, I've got a clear top 9 players. So, Todd, in your rankings, you'd have to have Munster next, right?
Yes, Munster.
That has to be 10.
Well, Munster's 8 for me, yeah.
8?
Yeah.
Oh, you've got him ahead of Drinkwater.
I don't have Drinkwater in my top 10 because I rank Kinney ahead of Drinkwater.
Wow. Okay. So this is where, for me, things get a real dicey, gentlemen, and you're starting to pick your poison. So I'm just going to throw out some names. You tell me if any of these just absolutely stand out. Todd, you've definitely said Kinney for you. You'd be very happy to get Kinney in the 10-11 turn by the sound of it.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. I'll just read them out for you. So you've got Harry Grant. Has to be mentioned somewhere here. I agree, but he has to be mentioned. Ponga's got to be mentioned. This is the lowest he's ever got to in a draft, really. It's down there. Sammy Walker. Jerome Hughes. Nwanga Kiraz, Kitty, as we've already mentioned. That's probably the names I think that are being discussed here. Oh, did I say Turbo? My apologies, gentlemen. Turbo as well.
Terrell, do you say Terrell May as well? Because
I just put it. I did put Terrell.
Overall. Yeah.
Yeah, I put Terrell May in there for sure. Help me out, gentlemen. I don't think there's an obvious 10 that I've got on this list in front of me. And I might even shade it towards Kinney just because of how excited you are, Todd. But also I have Ponga ranked ahead of him, personally.
Yeah, that's fair, mate. I've got Kinney there in the 10. Just sort of flipping over the next round, I've got Sammy Walker, then Kalen Ponga. So that's, those three guys are sort of interchangeable there. Pick your poison kind of thing. But I personally have Kinney.
Simo, probably have to... Number 10 here, mate.
Ponga.
I think that's where I was going. I think that's fair. And I will give it. I think I'm going to give this to Todd. I think Kinney at 11 is fine. Right? Or is it too high? Having him over to... him versus Turbo is just really close. It's really close to me.
I mean, that's where Kinney was going last year. And for me, it's a bit too rich coming off the neck. So, like all these other guys, I'd probably be looking at him over. For me, it'd be Turbo, Harry Grant, Kiraz I'd take over Kinney.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sammy Walker's an interesting one.
Jerome Hughes is interesting as well. Like, it's good value on last year's 4th overall player. Sorry, like last year's fourth overall pick. Sorry.
Yeah, who was massive 2 years ago, but obviously a huge down year, marred with injury last.
Yeah.
How about this, gentlemen? I'm going to go 10 Ponga, 11 Turbo, 12 Grant. I'm going to give you 13 Kinney Todza, which is still a bump.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just sort of like trying to amalgamate our rankings a little bit. I'm happy with that. Then, Simo, you said a couple of names there that are very high on my list. I don't see why Nwanga won't repeat. I think he'll do something very similar. Whether it's as high as last year, don't know. But he will do freakish supercoachy things until he leaves for rugby. So Marky Mark, Kiraz.
I couldn't take him above Kiraz and Hughes.
What about Sam Walker with the goal kicking at the Roosters?
Yeah, Sammy Walker's interesting, but again, like Sammy's one of those ones that I just don't feel like you're getting a great advantage taking Sam Walker there because like you've still got all these other halfbacks that we mentioned earlier in the potty that are similar to him in that range. Like I don't feel like a early round 2 Sam Walker is going to be that much different than like an early round 3 halfback that we sort of like the look of.
I do because of the goal kicking, Simo. I think he's the last of those that are guaranteed to be good who is a goal kicker, like with the floor upside combo that he showed. And I think Roosters will be goal kicking a lot this year, a shit ton. So for me, I've got him in a tier. I would easily take him over Hughes, and I'd have a clear gap to Moses for me and Isaiah Katoa as well. So I'm not necessarily saying he has to go here. I absolutely hear your argument. So if it's not, Ponga, Turbo, Grant, Kinney, I'm actually going to fade Terrell May a little bit. I don't think he plays those massive minute games as often this year. I think he might be a bust if you take him. Those people out there in listener land, if you are thinking to take him early in round 1 because of last year, I think that'll be a mistake, personally. He'll still be good, but I don't think he's winning your weeks as much.
Isn't the conversation we're having who we're taking here? Like Sam Walker.
It is. I'm not saying it's necessarily Sammy, but I'm just who are the of the contenders, Simo? Like who are we putting in front of Sammy Walker?
Kiraz.
I've got Nwanga higher personally, but because I don't like the Bulldogs and Penrith draw on the run home in the finals. They're both really, really tough. I like the Roosters.
I don't think it's really stopped Kiraz, like who he plays, really.
Yeah. Todd, did you want to weigh in here, mate? Great. So we've already just got rid of Ponga, Turbo, Grant. We've given you Kenny at 13. Fine enough with that.
Yeah.
Give us your next pick, mate. You pick this one. Walker. It's out of Walker, Hughes. I'll take Marky Mack out and say Kiraz. It's probably out of one of them.
So
was Grant on the board, sorry?
Grant went at 12, Kinney at 13.
Okay. Sorry, I was trying to clarify.
Yeah, so I have Sammy Walker taking him ahead of Kiraz. I also have Jerome Hughes ahead of Kiraz. So That's how I would take them.
I'm happy with both of those, and then I'm happy to put
Then
Karaz
I have
next.
Karaz.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. That's fine.
Yep.
Then we're looking, honestly, like it does thin out pretty sharp here, I reckon, gentlemen. Like it does, it's just a lot less exciting.
Is it Fletcher sharp?
Not bad by you. He's already gone, mate.
He's gone 5th overall in Todd's rankings.
All right, how about Simo? To just give Toddy his due desserts here, do you think Terrell May, gun to your head, Terrell May or Fletcher Sharp?
Terrell May.
Whoa, come on now. What are we doing?
Okay. What about Fletcher Sharp at 18 above any of the other options? Because it's getting pretty thin. Like, I would still have Marky Mark for me has to come in somewhere in the bottom of these 3 picks.
Yeah, and I think Tommy Dearden needs to be mentioned as well. Somewhere in
Not a chance.
Somewhere in around.
I'll draft him in about... if he's there in round 7, maybe the end, I'll take him. His floor is still disgusting. I hate it. He is a flat... He'll have a cross on his name for me. Sucks. Goes missing. Goes missing a lot. He's overrated because of his Origin appearances.
Geez, that's a terrible take.
His floor is shocking. It still was shocking last year. Terrible. Went missing for so many games. I think the stats. I will get some stats for you listeners when we get to the halfback to show why you should not draft Tom Dearden. There you go. Anyway, rounding out the end of this, you've got Marky Mark, Dylan Edwards. It has to be Fletcher Sharp. I will happily put Fletcher Sharp here for you, Tots, because I feel we are getting to the point where if it hits and you're getting him at the end of round 2 to pair with someone and he is the best 5'8", then that becomes quite a good pick. You can have him at 18. There you go.
Wonderful. I'll take him at 18.
Well, you'd be delighted if you got him there, mate. That'd be a massive get. That'd be a massive get.
Got him a whole round later.
I've drafted Hearts into Fletcher Sharp. Thank you very much.
I think you would be happy with that. Is there, honestly, gentlemen, like it is getting thin real quick here. Like this is the thing about drafting 1st and 2nd overall, or even like 1st or 2nd or 3rd. Boy, is this less of an auto pick for you? Tino, AFB,
No.
Dylan Lucas. I'm just trying to grab some names or something at the top of my
Val
ranking.
Holmes, Blake
Well,
Brown,
a lot of
somewhere.
Not you guys, but most people who, like if Hudson Young's their number 1 2RF, a lot of people will mention him here.
He's not even on my list, Simo. Who's that guy? No, he's there, but he's just down, and he's also got a line through him, so I can't have it. He's going to drop off this year without Fogarty. I think he's a huge bust candidate, personally. Massive bust candidate.
I'm just saying, whoever just put number 1 2RF in, no matter who you are and who your rankings are, like whoever that player is for you,
Angus Crichton.
This is about the spot where you could look at a 2RF.
I think Tino starts to become interesting here. I know, Toddsy, you're a big fan of Tino this year. I don't hate it. I think that's a solid
Second
enough.
row only, Tino.
We know he's still a big fan, the kid. But help me out here, gentlemen. Is it Val Holmes, Eero? I know you're a fan, Simo, as I am. Edwards.
Not in round 2, I'm not.
Not in round 2, no. Edwards, Tino. Crichton is ahead of Tino in my rankings. Very aggressive. I'll talk to that in the 2RF podcast. Fanua Blake. Keon Kolamatangi, gentlemen, is, I think, at least starting to look a little juicy if you took one of those fullbacks in round 1. Could be a cut price Payne Haas.
You talk about Hudson Young. We've got red flags. Kalama
You're at red flag. We'll talk about the Colo one. His range of outcomes is actually quite large. I'll pay that. Absolutely will.
You know, he's leaving, and they've got Fafita and Talis Duncan playing 80 on an edge with Cam Murray back. Like, I don't see the minutes anywhere near what they were. So, look, it's a fair spot for him. It's just like, and there's not really anyone else to necessarily say you should take them over him, but it's just, it's not without downside.
Todzer, I saw a bit of a glint in your eye, mate. Taking Colo here, especially if you took fullback in slot 1 or 2, I don't
mind it. I was sort of looking at my rankings, end of round 2 here. I got Karaz, Val Holmes, Dylan Edwards, then Mark Nawangti Tawasi. So that's how I end
All
up
right.
round 2.
Marky Mark's getting a run here.
Yep.
I think because he's potential league winning upside again. And I'm going to put Colo down because I think he'll be a popular pick for people in round 2 here. I think that's a decent pick that year. Simo, yes, there are risks. Is he a complete bust there? I don't think so. I think he's actually kind of more in the safe. Sorry, mate?
T-May's already gone? Yep,
cool. T-May went at 17, Todzo, which I think was about fair. I won't be one who drafts T-May, but I get it. Similar to Colo, like he's not going to completely sink you. Yeah, he's a great player. All right, gentlemen, we got through, so I will do a recap for the listeners, and let us know, boys and ladies. Shout out to our female listeners, growing each year, of course.
Shout out.
We've got round 1: Walsh, Teddy, Cleary, Haas, Campbell, Hines. Again, flip him if you really have a preference. Herbie, Drinky, Munster, Ponga, Turbo, Grant, Kinney, Walker, Hughes, Kiraz, May, Sharp, Nawangani Tawaze, Kolomatangi.
Love it.
Only issue with it I have is at the start. Cleary should be second.
Ahead of Teddy? Yeah, I think...
For me, yeah. Because
there's a clear top 4 Simo, isn't there, this year, in my opinion?
Yeah, but going back, did we not... Well, two of the 3 of us at least said it's between Walsh and Cleary, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
don't think any of us said Tedesco second.
Todd's did, I think, or did I mishear you, Todd's?
No, I did not have Tedesco second.
Easy done. So flip them around. So, yeah, that's fine. My apologies, gentlemen. So put Walsh, Cleary, Teddy, Haas.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, beautiful. So I think if you look at the combination of round 1 and 2, gentlemen, the Haas owner may well run out of, because the back end of that round, Fletcher, Sharp, Marky, Mark, and Colo to pair with Haas. You've missed out on all those fullbacks there if you're taking Haas that late. If, however, you took Haas, you're going to have those fullbacks that we said. You're going to have to target one of your Trey Fuller, Yongi, Falongo, Bula, and Dylan Edwards is still there. You could take on the turn as well. Just keep that in mind. So that's one takeaway for me. Any other thoughts for you, gentlemen? That was just one that stood out for me. I wanted to see if you could make the Haas one work because he's an attractive option this year.
Like I said with the Haas build before, if in round 2, like, the guys picking behind you have got fullbacks already. 2 of them do. And the other one has Cleary. So unless the Cleary guy wants to go Cleary and Dylan Edwards and just load up on Penrith, which they probably don't want to do, there's every chance you can wait and get Edwards in round 3. So the build I said before was Moses into Dylan Edwards as the way to build it.
Haas, Moses, Edwards. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, because for me, Moses is the next halfback behind Walker and Hughes, or Hughes Walker, no matter which way you have it.
Yep,
so
I agree with that.
I'm assuming that Moses is the next halfback there. So,
yep.
Look, it's one of those ones, like, you need to make a decision in that scenario whether you want to go the Moses level halfback, or if you can't ignore the quality that you're looking at there with like the Nwangani Tawase or whoever else has fallen there, whether it be Tino or whoever. But there's some juicy players there that have fallen to you. It could be a big enough carrot that you forego the halfback in round 2. Let's say you do go a different position and you still get Dylan Edwards round 3. All it means is you're looking at a halfback in the next, come back in round 4. Sure, you're not getting Moses, but you could still get a pretty decent enough player.
Fogarty, Brown, Did, and that sort of level, Simo. Maybe even if you're lucky, Isaiah Katoa.
Well, yeah, like you could, it's well worth the risk because, one of those guys might come back. They might. It's definitely not likely, but they might.
Well, the one for me that stands out is what if you did take Haas at 4 and people push Terrell May up the board, which will happen. Fletcher Sharp, as per what Toddy mentioned, could easily go higher. I actually understand that. The other one would be, for me, if you could imagine getting, Sam Walker or Jerome Hughes fall to you when you're the half drafter, you've just, in my opinion, you'll have the best team straight off the bat. As good as it gets. Like as in the best start to a team, I should say. Todza, any weigh in from you, mate, on just some of those structures for the listeners?
Yeah, no, I like what Simo was saying there. If you were to not take that halfback, you probably get Carraz into Edwards and then wait for whoever you like there that did. And I like that sort of the role. I think if you start Haas, Carraz, Edwards, like I'll be stoked, and then try and fill out that halfback spot. Massive upside there. So that's one way to look at it. I like what you guys are saying.
Yeah, interesting. And just saying, gentlemen, there could be an opportunity if you want to just do something a bit bold. Grab Haas and T May in rounds 1 and 2. It might well be an option for you. I'd just love to see if that would work. That'd be so interesting.
That does not work. No way.
Probably not, but I love when people come up with wacky builds.
Well, the good news is, like, this year, just to sort of interject there, like, if you were to do that, you still get a fullback in round 3. So I'd say it's still Dylan Edwards. Like, 5'8's that crap that because you're punting 5'8, you're not really losing that much on the rest of the league because outside of the Munster and Fletcher Sharp owner, which is only two managers in the league, the rest of them have all.
Todd, so there's no threat there.
That's right. And it'll be Toddy who's already fucked his draft. So
does happen. It does happen.
So like you could punt 5'8 altogether because you're not losing a lot in value by looking at 5'8" versus 5'8" because it's really just throwing a dart at the board and hopefully you hit something. But it could be done because you could just get some value on halfback in round 4. So you've already covered your 2 front rows. You're essentially waiting on hooker, which will be a strategy we'll probably employ a lot this year on future episodes. So you're punting hooker, you're punting 5'8". Centre wing is a great position to just sort of leave and see what happens. So it could be done. I don't hate it. And plus, you're weakening everyone else in your league at front row. So it's pretty cool.
I also think Moses in round 2 is very risky compared to some of those other really good options, Simo. I didn't, as you said that aloud, just with his range of injury outcomes, the fact that Para aren't guaranteed. He does get the goal kicking back, we all know that, but if Para aren't in fact the big improvers this year, are they going to be as good without Lomax there in attack? Probably not. So he's an interesting one for me. I'd prefer to wait on the halfback rather than take him in 2, but I get it. He is the next ranked. All right, gentlemen. Very happy with that start. And now for our loyal listeners, of many we have had join us so far, Meso has added Munster and Grant I'm cold on with a weaker Storm outfit. There'll be 5'8" and hooker value later, as Simo has just said. Sharp is also too high, is even a shorter half start. Latrell could sneak into top 20 on potential. I agree with the latter. He's risky, Big Trell, but if South are in fact a juggernaut and he's goal kicking plenty and stays fit, he could be amazing this year in his CTW and just crush it. I'd rather get value on him though, Meso, and try and be the one that takes him at the end of round 3 and hope that he does go up to the sort of, Marky Mark, Kiraz, etc. I also think when you got guys like Val there who's goal kicking as well that Todd's has mentioned, a better shout for me as well. The other point Meso said, Storm also around 24 bye, which hurts, absolutely. Drinky also has around 25 as well, listeners, which has to be taken into account also. And then Panthers around 25, 26 for the... Yeah, it's a tough run. Storm and the Panthers have really tough finals draws, like more those grindy looking matches. So just take that into account, gentlemen.
The people do the NRL draws. That like it's so easy for them to just go, oh, back into the year, let's peg Broncos, Panthers, Storm, Roosters. Just
literally
put all these teams together. Like it's just
crazy, isn't it?
Well, year on year, it's pretty predictable. Like most of the time, you get a few outliers there, but if you peg those 4 or 5 teams against each other, you're sitting pretty most of the time.
Lads, very happy with that round 1-2 analysis. We've covered fullback as well. We'll jump into, we'll probably run both the halves, and I'll probably grab hooker as well, at least in the next one, just get them knocked off. Now to the setup of the Mighty Listener League as I look to defend my title from last year, and also Simo won the year before. So it's up to you listeners to try and knock us off finally. Jersey up for grabs as always. We'll be trying to keep you at bay, but if you get the dub, we'll sort you out with a jersey. So listeners, if you're keen to participate this year, entry is open to the first 9 comments after the video is uploaded, not live comments right now, but after the video is uploaded. It'll be the first 9 comments that have the catchphrase in there. Get that BDE into you. All right? Got to be listed in the comments. It doesn't matter if you played before. We're happy to have you back, but the first 9 will get a 12-team standard draft. We are looking to do a live upload of our draft. Like the 3 of us will be in on our podcast. We'll be talking through the draft as it happens live, our reactions, etc., which should be a good bit of fun. So, gentlemen and listeners, let us know in the comments if you're keen. Put the catchphrase in. Get that BDE into you. You've also got to like and subscribe, obviously, as well. But, yeah, gentlemen, that's us for podcast number 1. Anything from you, Simo, before we wrap up, sir?
Yeah, just on the Listener League, if let's say you get there and there's already 9 comments, don't feel like you've missed out. So still comment, because there's every chance people before you might be unavailable for the draft or whatever. So people do pull out. Yeah. So don't feel like you've missed the gun there. So if you're 12th or 13th to comment, still jump on there and get it done, because you never know your luck. So
absolutely, Simo. Subject to availability, mate. That's right. Really good shout from you, mate. So I want to see plenty of comments on there, folks. Get the likes in there. Todd Mount, good start from you, mate. Stayed well attended, I reckon. The big fella.
Yeah, I'm trying very hard this year to be very active. Look, it's good to be back, mate. First episode of the year done. I just can't wait for draft day. Can't wait for footy. I'm excited.
Yes, mate. We've set up our draft, our live list, our League of Record draft, hosted by the commish on Sunday, the 22nd of Feb. We're underway. So bloody looking forward to a few frothies with you, gentlemen. It's going to be good.
Put away a few.
We've got Meso coming in hot. Great to see you back for the season 2026. Top potty to start. Brain ticking over. Yes, boy. Great to have you back. Great to have some of our regulars. And we'll see you live for our next edition, which Toddy will get well ahead of advertising for.
Yep, I will.
Listeners, as always, get that BDE in here. Yeah.